Hey guys, this is Steli After with Close.io. In sales, you never want to talk about price without first establishing the value. I recently did a cold calling coaching session with somebody, and in the middle of the interaction, he was calling me. It was a first cold call, prospecting me, trying to qualify me as a buyer. And very early on, I stopped him in his flow and I said, "You know what? Can you just send me more information?" He said yes. And then I told him, "Well, before you hang up, tell me what's the price of your application or your product? Because I don't want to look at information, even if it's interesting to me. If the price is not right, then I don't have to waste time reaching back out to you." And he thought about it for a second, thought it was reasonable, and just gave into it and said, "Yeah, it ranges usually around $10,000 to $20,000 per year." Big mistake. He knew nothing about me. He knew nothing about my budget. He didn't have anything to base any pricing on, but because he was pressed from my side and because what I said seemed reasonable, he just opened up and gave everything away. Why is this a bad strategy? Well, when you talk about price with a prospect before establishing the value that you can create, before understanding even the value that you're able to create, what you're doing is you're turning price into a pure cost factor, a pure commodity, and at the end of the day, you're losing control over the sales interaction. I asked the guy, "Hey, how did you know what price to quote him? Do you know if he's an enterprise client, a smaller or a mid one? Do you know how much support and service he needs? Will he get any consulting? Do you know what kind of volume of activity he's going to have on your platform? Can you really give a reasonable range without knowing anything of the buyer?" The guy on the other side of the line went, "Well, not really. I just took a step in the dark and I just best guess. I didn't want to say nothing." And I told him, "You know what? What if the price that you said was too high?" He's like, "Yeah, I know what you're going to say. That's why I was leaning more towards the lower end of what we would charge." Uh-huh. What if your price was too low? Silence. What if it's too low? For some buyers, they're budget conscious. They want the cheapest thing possible. For others, they have tons of money and they just want to know that you're serious. So if you quote them, five to $10,000 to $20,000 a year for something that they usually would spend $2 million a year, they'll think you're not a suitable fit. You're not the type of vendor they typically deal with. You lost the deal because you gave away a price that's too cheap. I know for some people this is hard to believe, but when you don't know who you're dealing with, you're throwing darts in the dark. Your chances are higher when you go to Vegas and put everything on red. You don't want to, you don't want to turn a sales call into a gambling interaction. You want to know what you're doing. You want to be in control of the interaction. So what should he have done instead? Instead of just giving away a price, blurbing out some number, how about asking me what my budget is or what my expectations are? So since I told him, "Hey, don't just send me information because if I find it interesting and the price is not right, then I'm just going to be wasting time reaching back out to you. So tell me, what's the price for your product?" How about asking the guy, "Hey, what's the right price range?" Let me ask you, what's the right price range? What's the price range you're looking for? And I can tell you if we're typically within that or not, right? So many times just asking a question back will work. Sometimes it might not. The person might say, "Well, I'm not going to tell you the budget, blah, blah, blah." But now that's good. Now I'm getting some interaction. The guy is awake and engaged. And most people would shy away from it and be like, "Oh, I pissed him off and I, turned a good conversation or an okay conversation into something negative." No, you turned somebody that was just slightly disinterested into somebody that's highly engaged. I think that's a good thing. Now you take that energy that the guy puts into the call of being like all outraged and you turn it around into interest and then into a productive and compelling call. Once you truly understand what is their budget, what are their needs, what is the value that I'm able to provide through our product and our service, then when you talk about price, price is not a cost factor and your solution and what you do doesn't turn into a commodity, but now the price has turned into an investment. An investment hopefully that pays returns and big returns. And now when you talk about pricing, you can utilize that discussion for branding purposes and for positioning yourself in the market, either as a premium solution or as the solution that has the highest return on investment or whatever else the customer cares about and it's true and authentic with what your company is representing. If you talk about price before you know what the values you create, you're talking cost, commodity, you're losing control. When you talk price, once you truly understand the prospect and customer, now price is an investment, it's branding, it's positioning. So see how it turns from something negative and outside your control to something positive and empowering, something that strengthens your negotiation in the sales process. Never, ever give away price without understanding your prospect. All right, if you want to know more, shoot me an email at stelly@close.io. Go visit our blog at blog.close.io and subscribe to it. And subscribe to this YouTube channel to never again miss a sales hack. All right, go out there and hustle hard. Go get them and close deals every single day.